When in Mykolaiv earlier this month, the latest round of Russian missiles that had blasted city, homes and businesses were not the traditional long-range Smerch artillery rockets or the nasty Iskander ballistic missiles, we were little surprised. Instead, it was S-300 anti-aircraft missiles, which was more than a little like using a 12th century antique samurai sword to cut a path through 21st century jungle bamboo. The Russian propaganda previously said that the S-300 is one of the most potent anti-aircraft systems currently fielded, and they're quite expensive. According to Interfax, in April Iran tentatively agreed to buy 4 of these systems from Russia for $900 million. There aren't any details, but Greece, which operates the S-300 and likewise per news reports fields 4 systems, has in total 32 launchers with 175 missiles. I am hesitant to try and calculate exactly how much it costs the RF every time it shoots S-300s at Mykolaiv, but for sure it ain't cheap. The decision to use these missiles this way allowed the Russian army, remember, sometimes 6 of 8 missiles fired get shot down to land about 150 kilograms of high explosives in the general area of a selected grid coordinate. That's enough explosives to badly damage part of an apartment building, but not really destroy it, or maybe to level a portion of dormitory used by Ukrainian troops, but most survive. At the same time, of course, every S-300 the Russians fired, whether it hit a target or got shot down itself, is one less anti-aircraft missile on hand to try and intercept Ukrainian helicopters, combat jets and cruise missiles. If the Russia ever wants to replace the missile, it would be a long way from free, even if the Russians could find the components, and with the sanctions that's far from a sure thing. It's worth recalling that when the Israeli tanks and armored infantry crossed the Suez Canal and broke out into the Egyptian army's rear area, Egyptian anti-aircraft missile gunners in the Israelis' path leveled their weapons and launched on the Israeli columns, almost always missing widely, and of course at the same time, by throwing away anti-aircraft missiles at ground targets, every missile wasted against a ground target opened the way for even more devastating airstrikes by the Israeli Air Force. The Egyptians' thinking seems to have been, the batteries are about to be overrun or destroyed anyway, so take the shot. At the end of the day, it was Soviet taxpayers, not Egyptian, that bought the missiles. All of which leads one to several possible conclusions. The Russians are so wealthy in S-300 missiles that they can waste them on ground targets. The Russians for some reason feel like the situation is bad enough that they have to use expensive S-300 missiles against ground targets. The Russian chain of command is effectively dysfunctional, with the top saying something like keep on bombarding Mykolaiv, I don't care how you do it, and the field echelons saying okay, if that's what those idiots in the Kremlin want, who am I to argue? I've tossed out the possibility that Russia has decided the Ukrainian Air Force threat doesn't exist anymore. Clearly it did before HIMARS got fielded, and now that long-range rockets seem to be picking off 4 to 6 Russian ammo dumps a day, S-300 is one of the very few systems the Russians has that even has a chance to intercept a Ukrainian rocket strike. It is worth adding, besides anti-aircraft missiles, the Russians have for weeks now been shooting old anti-ship missiles at Ukrainian homes and businesses. Setting aside the humanitarian aspect, it begs the question. What kind of army pays all sorts of money making expensive anti-ship and anti-aircraft missiles and then winds up firing them, basically, at apartment buildings? The big follow-up question would be, obviously, how is it remotely possible to conclude an army that does that could win a war? Apartment buildings don't shoot back. You win a war by killing the guy that wants to kill you. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.